everyone, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today I'm trying a new camera setup, so I thought I would do a quick assembly video. I just dug out of my to-do pile a M5 American Stuart for Flames of War, and we thought we'd assemble one of these bad boys and see how it looks on camera. Now, before we begin, just go over some of the supplies I'll be using. I have a trusty ancient metal file here, an X-Acto knife, and some plastic snippers, and then some plastic cement. I like this plastic weld. It's in a glass bottle. I bought and I forget what company I got this from, but this has been a lifesaver as far as for the glue. I have tipped these over on occasion. It's always when they're brand new, never when they're almost empty, and it makes a horrible mess. I actually ruined a plastic model once by tipping this onto it. So that keeps it safe while I'm working, which is always a plus. Alright, so let's talk about the model we're going to be working on. This is a M5A1 Stuart. This kit can also be built as a Scott, which is basically the assault gun version. So there are two ways to build this. We're just going to build a regular old M5 so that you can see what that'll look like. Now, what I did was I marked on the back with just some paint the pieces that go for the Scott so that I can easily keep them apart. And there's just a few pieces to differentiate it. There's a different glacial plate, different turret. So you have a few things to keep track of when you're building these things. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to snip the parts we need. We're going to start with the bottom of the tank. Always with the snippers, there's a flat end and a not flat end, so you always want this flat end up against the model itself. And basically just clip. I like to clip everything from one direction and then flip it over and clip from this direction. Particularly with small parts, I always am careful with the last snip to keep plastic from shooting across the room and getting lost in the carpet. With the first two pieces snipped, it's as good a time as any to clean them up. You could clean them up with a knife blade, and you're just getting these little parts, or you can clean it up with a file. So there's these parts here, and really that gets the piece pretty clean. So we'll do that to both of these, and with a metal file you really don't need a lot. And that might look a little weird, but that's just because of the, I think that's some green stuff that I sanded on that last time around. So that's where that yellow is coming from. It's not coming from the model. Alright, so there's our tracks. We're going to go ahead and cut out the hull, and then we'll be right back. Next thing we're going to do, now that the basic hull is complete, is cut off this little tiny machine gun. So this is always fiddly. Let's see if I can show it on camera. So I know where I'm going to cut, so I'm actually holding it a little bit with my thumb and forefinger just to prevent it from shooting off into the unknown. So there we go. Now we can clean it up. I did want to point out just a quick way to tell the difference between the two front plates of the tank. The M5, the Stuart, has a hull-mounted machine gun, which is what's going to go in this hole here. The Scott does not have a hull-mounted machine gun, so there's no hole or anything to mount a machine gun. So that's as good a way as any to keep track of the parts you want. Alright, we have all the basic building blocks for the hull right now. So this is the bottom of the tank, and you'll notice that there's these grooves, 2 on this side, 3 on this side, and they correspond with the notches here on the tread. So this one goes here, and that one's going to go on that side. There's no way to accidentally glue it to the wrong side. So the easiest way to do this is with your glue. Just give yourself here. Add that there. For those of you guys who just use super glue, I love this plastic glue. It basically, well, welding is in the title, but it melts the plastic together, making it stronger than a super glue bond. But it does take a little bit longer to dry. So we've got that side. We'll slap some glue here on this side. Capillary action is your friend with this. And that just basically will seep down in there. And you want to make sure that you've got a nice good level, I even set it on the table, weld. Next up, I'm going to attach the backplate. It's between the backplate or the top of the hull. I like the backplate better because there is a little wiggle on the top of the hull, and if you do the backplate first, it helps minimize the wiggle of the top plate. So there you go, the back plate is on, and this basically, there's a little notch right here. I don't know if you can see that. That corresponds with, there's a notch here, so in theory it's just going to sit there. Alright, we're going to go with the top hull first. We're going to lay down some glue, put that on there, make sure it's kind of slid back. The one of the nice things about this glue too is, since it doesn't glue quite as, or dry quite as quickly as super glue, it gives you some wiggle room. Alright, so that's the front of our thing. Basically, you want to make sure this is going to pop into that groove right along here. So this back edge needs to be as smooth as you can get it. Now there are some overhang pieces, you can see that there, but those are meant to sit on top of the hull, so it's a little deceptive. So really, all we're doing is we're gluing here, and we're gluing down there. We're sliding this in. And I got enough glue, I don't need to worry about the top, but I do want to put a little bit more glue there. Make sure that everything is pushed around. So I'm going to use another tool I didn't show you, just a pair of tweezers. That can help attach something fiddly like that. Put some glue there. You don't want to flood the area with glue. You don't want to use too much. If you wanted to do it quickly, you could dab some glue on both ends. That works really well, but sometimes it's just not possible. So what we're going to do is kind of wiggle it into the right spot. We should be good. Now that we have the hull nice and done, we can do the turret. Alright, so the turret, we're using This is our turret top, our turret side, the barrel, the turret bottom, and then there are some detailed pieces for the sides. So we're going to go ahead and cut them out and clean them just like we did before. Alright, we've got all our turret pieces cleaned up. We do have two options when we build the M5 Stuart turret for this 30 cal. I think I'm going to go with this one, but it's nice that they give you two options. One, because cleaning and cutting out these machine guns can be fiddly, and you might have you can break off the barrel or break off the gun. This way you've got a backup that you can use. Alright, I think I'm just going to go and put the base on the tank first. Always make sure you're trying to attach that the right direction. There's the hole for the magnet. I've got that in there. I can just lay another kind of bead of that in there to get the glue where it needs to go. Then we can look at these side pieces. This one's going to glue right there. Again, you want to make sure you don't use too much and flood the area, because if it does melt the plastic and you stick your finger in it, you can get your fingerprints in there very easily. So another thing you might want to do, this takes a little bit more dexterity, is put some on both sides. That starts melting the plastic on both sides. I'm not actually going to use that piece, but we're going to use this piece. Put it in there. There's a little notch. So it goes very well. If you do add glue after the fact, always try to go underneath where it's a little bit less obvious in case there are any mistakes. Next, we're going to attach the turret. So here we'll try to do that. We'll try to get glue on both pieces. A little bit there. And a little bit of this glue goes a long way. It's very easy to flood an area with too much glue, particularly if you're new. Alright, so we've got that. We ended up not using this piece. So at this point you have a choice. Are you going to use a magnet or the peg that's provided on the sprue? I tend to use the peg just to make it a little bit easier. But obviously the choice is yours. Adding the peg is pretty easy. A little glue, a little peg. Push it in there. Let that dry before you stick it in the tank, because if you have too much and the glue kind of squirts around the edges and you put it on the tank, it'll glue itself to the tank and then you can't spin your turret, which is no fun at all. So while that's drying, let's just talk about the M8 Scott turret. This is pretty cool, but unlike the Sherman, it doesn't look like it's intended for you to be able to swap out the turrets. Now, granted, for the hull, the M5 hull has a different front plate with the machine gun, so Scott would not have that. But if you're trying to, stretch your dollar, you could build this turret. There's only a few pieces, and put it on there. Now, what Battlefront didn't do, which I think they did with the Sherman, is put two of the turret pegs on there. One for the 75mm, one for the 76mm for the Sherman. They didn't do that here, so it looks like the intention is not for this to be swappable like it is on the Sherman, which is unfortunate, but historical wise, it's a different front plate. Now, you could get crazy and magnetize the front plates, swap that piece in and out, put the other turret on, and be good. But that's a lot of effort for just disguising that .30 caliber machine gun. So that's going to be up to you. But with that, you can see how easy it is to build your little cute Stuart light tank. This is a great little model. I like it a lot. Now there is a hatch. I'm not sure how I'm going to build this, so I'm not going to put it on there. There is a hatch for the turret. Depending on how you want to go with it, if you want a guy sticking out or if you just want to glue it shut. I think I'm going to glue it shut so I can show you guys, and I can always build a command tank with a different one. There you go. That hatch is a pretty tight tolerance, so you want to make sure you cut down or sand the corners of that hatch. But there it is, and you can see the fit is quite snug, so there's not any huge gaps or anything. Or you could glue it in the up position and stick a tank commander out of the hatch, which most people do to mark the command tank or something like that. There are a few other pieces, optional pieces on the sprue for both variants. You've got track guards, which weren't that popular, particularly in late war, and I base that just on photographic evidence. You don't see a lot of Stuart tanks with their track guards still on. Same thing with Shermans. They also have like the spare wheel, which the instructions say glue that on the front plate. But I like to put a nice big American star there, or Allied star, so I'm not going to glue that there. But really, you could put that anywhere you wanted to do that. The Stuart's also nice for stowage if you buy the I don't even know if they sell them anymore, the metal stowage kits from Battlefront. That's a good spot on, it's lots of good flat spots to put that. So there you go, guys. That is a M5 Stuart late war tank for Flames of War. So I hope you guys liked this kind of layout. I'm trying something new here to see if it's something that you guys like, see how you're going to respond to it. Would you like to see more of videos like this? Would you like to see painting videos? Keep in mind, I'm not the world's best painter, but I paint up to a standard that I'm happy with that doesn't take a ton of time. So if those are the things you'd like to see, please let me know down in the comments below. Also, we'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching, everyone, and keep on wargaming.